This is Vincent Hanna.
Because I spend all my time chasing guys like you around the block. That's my life.
This is Hawkeye.
So powder! If we don't go in that, there's no chance, none! You understand?
And this is Muhammad Ali.
You want the title? You want to wear the heavyweight crown? You ready for that? Is that you? You face a man who will die before he lets you win.
These iconic characters were all brought to the silver screen by director Michael Mann. On the surface, these characters might all seem wildly disparate. However, if we dig a little deeper, perhaps they're all bonded by a common pseudo-autobiographical trait.
Having enough time. Enough time to do what you want to do. That's right.
Before we get too deep into today's episode, please be sure to like and subscribe to Nerdstalgic to stay up to date with everything we've got going on. Michael Mann usually builds his stories to display a rigid architecture of characters displaying hyper-competency while making their way through genre settings. He takes what could be two-dimensional people who serve no greater point than to push the plot forward and develops them into the realm of living, breathing icons by adding a simple component: emotional vulnerability. Take, for example, Mann's theatrical feature debut, Thief. The film follows an expert safecracker, Frank, as he takes on one final job before leaving a life of crime behind. In a now iconic scene, he gives an impassioned speech revealing that he's a criminal to the woman he loves.
I'm a thief! I've been in prison, all right?
So what? I don't care.
So what?
Don't tell me.
So what? I never even told my wife that!
I don't
Who is now gone?
What transpires is a deeply personal back and forth where the two lovers sit at a late-night diner, baring their souls to one another.
You're backing off, you're hiding out, you're waiting for a bus that you hope never comes because you don't want to get on it anyway because you don't want to go anywhere, all right?
Frank, in many ways, will serve as a prototypical man protagonist. He's wrought with inner conflict, skilled in a very specific craft, lives outside of societal norms, and yet has a staunchly moral philosophy. This archetype would be expanded upon in the television program Miami Vice.
This was supposed to be a lightweight deal.
Yeah, it's what we thought, till the fireworks started.
First airing in 1984, the impact that this police procedural television program had on culture cannot be overstated.
I hear you're gonna have your bachelor party Friday night before the wedding. You might miss Miami Vice.
The show, which follows two Metro-Dade Police Department detectives on the Vice beat in Miami, Florida, could have easily been a rote, tropey police show. However, when the pilot 2-hour movie aired, it was a near instant success. Mann was an executive producer on the show and was intimately involved with the production and the writing of the series, despite only taking a writing credit on one episode. While they would quickly move away from this status quo after the first season, James "Sonny" Crockett was initially written to be a brilliant cop in the middle of a crumbling marriage.
Now you just have to accept that I have my own life now.
Yeah, well, I have my own life too, and a big part of that includes being a father. So forget it, Caroline.
This trope of male protagonists whose primary attribute is a hypercompetency shows up in just about all of Mann's films. Hawkeye in Last of the Mohicans is basically a one-man war machine embroiled in a sweeping romance. Ali depicts the greatest boxer to ever live and how a lesser man would have taken the easier path instead of standing up for what he believed in during one of the darkest times in American history. Even The Insider, which is a fictionalized account of Dr. Jeffrey Wiggins' life as a whistleblower on the tobacco industry, fits into this mold. Interestingly, the exceptions of the trope still somehow fit. Take Mann's 2004 stripped-down high-concept thriller, Collateral. The two halves of the stock protagonist are divided into the two main characters. Vincent has all of the skills but none of the interior life, while Max is the character that experiences the moral conflict. Almost as if Mann is saying that Vincent's absence of emotions negate his exceedingly impressive skill set.
Like, what were you, one of those institutionalized raised guys? Anybody home? Standard parts that are supposed to be there when people in you aren't.
Perhaps the apotheosis of Mann's hyper-competent yet emotionally turbulent male protagonist is his neo-noir magnum opus, Heat. Released in 1995, the film follows a group of thieves led by the notoriously cutthroat burglar named Neil McCauley. These criminals are doggedly hunted by an eccentric LAPD lieutenant named Vincent Hanna. Hanna and McCauley are both prototypical Mann characters. McCauley is a solitary individual who has next to no life outside of his criminal enterprises, who falls in love with a woman, which upends just about everything in his world. Hanna is a dedicated officer in the middle of, you guessed it, a crumbling marriage. Family life is the central core theme of Heat. It's examined from just about every angle, both with the dyad of Hanna and McCauley, but also with the supporting cast as well. And it's this film that truly proves to be the skeleton key to unlocking the emergent theme that Mann has been dealing with his entire career:
Don't let yourself get attached to anything you are not willing to walk out on in 30 seconds flat if you feel the heat around the corner.
How do you balance having a family and dedicating yourself to a craft completely? He obviously is someone who does not deal in compromises or half measures. He's someone who wants perfection. And dealing with other people, having relationships, and dedicating time to things other than your craft is the defining trial of his life. And that's what all his films are ostensibly about.
This regular type life, that your life?
My life? No, my life. No, my life's a disaster zone.
When evaluated in the cold light of day, it's almost a simple math equation. All of the films have these stand-ins for man's own personal struggles. It's readily apparent that he is obsessed with the inner lives of these highly skilled men, but once you realize that these stock protagonists are ostensibly him, it recontextualizes both them and their creator. Mann's true medium is not filmmaking, but autobiography. The struggles that Mann's films deal with are a direct reflection of his own obvious guilt over being pulled away from his family or his inability to balance a personal life and professional accomplishments. Yes, obviously, he's very interested in crime, politics, socioeconomic brackets, and the aesthetics of neon and city lights, but underneath that, there's something deeper. A personal statement. His mind is obviously consumed with the task of attempting to justify his obsession with filmmaking to himself. Mann's body of work at its most primal asks a simple question. If you make art that is great enough, will the love of an adoring public or the self-satisfaction of seeing your vision captured on the screen find an equilibrium with a neglected or brutalized personal life? The most frustrating aspect to all of this is that there is no clear-cut answer for either him or us, which is exactly why Mann is constantly preoccupied with this theme. He's always attempting to give the audience the same feeling of being caught between a rock and a hard place because that unwinnable scenario is where he constantly lives. Michael Mann's work is a treatise on just exactly what it takes to be a great artist, and whether or not that pursuit in and of itself is even worthwhile. How far would you really go to achieve your potential? How much of yourself would you stifle in order to succeed? What is the fallout in your family and social circle because of your choices?
So you never wanted a regular type life?
The f is that? Barbecues and ball games?
Yeah.
You can even see these tropes in his newest film, Ferrari, which follows one of the most well-respected race car drivers in history during a turbulent time in his personal life while his auto manufacturing empire is crumbling.
So what do I do?
Win the Mille Miglia, Enzo, or you are out of business.
The dark secret behind every Michael Mann protagonist is that they represent a primal howl into a void of existential nothingness. A coarse whisper that says, was it all worth it? And well, that's all we have for this video. What do you think? Are there other directors who are making autobiographies in this style? Let us know in the comments below, and as always, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos just like this.